Yeah, hello traders, what's going on? Today we have USD, old USD. When we look at this particular place, we will see a market that ranged for number of months before we saw this breakouts. And remember, whenever market is in a ranging phase like this, whenever that it breaks out, we are now looking for what? A retest of structure before continuation to the upside. But what we currently have here right now is a market which has broken out, but yet to retest the previous resistance that's supposed to turn to support. So let's have this in mind and drop down to 4 hours. Now, in 4 hours, what do we have here? We can see how this market is printing series of higher highs and higher lows. Just a minute. Series of higher highs and higher lows. Now, let's start from here. Created higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and we could on 4 hours call this what? Higher low. Now, but I want us to understand something, to watch closely in this market. When you look at this, you will discover that once this market creates higher high, we have created this higher high, this particular place. This is the higher low that led to this higher high, right? Then we harness this higher low here, created another higher high, and this another higher high created this higher low, and this higher low created this higher high, and this higher high created this higher low. Now, when you look at this market, you will discover that whenever this market creates higher low, the low that creates that push the market above the other one, market never went below it. For example, this low created this high, and market, even during retracement, it didn't take out, it didn't go below this low. This low created this high, created this low, then this low that it created, it didn't go below this low. Then this low created this high. This high, when it created another low, it didn't go below this low. And this low now created this high. And what do we see? This high has gone below this low, showing us that we should be expecting change of trend. Now, dropping down to 1 hour, you will discover what we just said now is now very, very, very clear. Now, looking at it, look at the lows that, look at the lows. Sorry, let's get something more simpler. Look at the lows that created all. Oh, sorry, let's get this. Look at the lows that created all this. Look at how markets respected it. Every low that creates a high, market doesn't go below it, but after this low was created and it created another high here, what do we have? Now market has gone below that particular what? Low, which means we are now on change of trend. So we are going to remove all these things now and take this as our change of character. The character of that market was changed there. Now, seeing this right now, what do we expect? You know, just to add little confluence to what we just discussed now, when markets is in uptrend, this is what we want to be seeing, right? We don't want to see markets go below this. Once it goes below this, so the trend has what? Changed. But sorry, the market could create something like this, which is also good for a trend. It could create something like this. Now, created another high, then it could come like this, have internal trend. Remember, this now has gone below this one. It could come like this, then, but what we don't want to see is going below this. Then it will now continue this way, right? Then created another what? Higher high. So all these things you are seeing right now is not break of structure or change of character. Rather, it is what taking off some internal um, liquidity or internal swings to fake or to manipulate the market to the upside. Now, having this in mind right now, let's quickly go to our charts. Sorry. Let's go back to our chart. Now, coming to this particular place right now. So, if we are to use this to identify our trends, we can use this as simple as that and identify what's our trends. As you can see, the last one that is yet to be tested is this. So, this first change of character, we're expecting the market to at least come to this particular place, even though it will continue to the upside. So we're expecting this to happen. Now, there is another thing that I want us to also have in mind. If you have been following me on some of my other channels, you will understand that once a market is moving, right? Let's say that this market is in uptrend, but before breaking this structure, which is creating another higher high, now this market created higher low and higher high internally. This is what we call internal what? Structure. Then we have something like this again before breaking to this upside. Now, looking at this right now, this and this could be used as what? A liquidity in the market. Remember, the break of structure occurred this particular place. So we are going to identify it here as our break of structure. It occurred here. So all these places now, what are we seeing? We are seeing a powerful manipulation zone, like people calls it, or liquidity that will be swept and other things. So having this in mind right now, there is possibility for this market right now to now return from this particular place, coming inside here, right? Have something of this nature. People will think that the trend has changed. The next thing you will see is the what? The market will create a new high above this particular last high. So this is sometimes what people say, that the market has manipulated them, market has liquidated them and other things. But this is actually the normal thing that happens in the market. But when you look at it, it didn't go below the low that triggered this continuation of the market. So even though market goes below this and this, it is very, very healthy. So I want us to keep all this in mind. So let's go back to what? Our chart. Now, having all this in mind right now is also going to help us in what we are doing. Now, for example, when you look at this right now, we will see that, okay, let's see if we have something of that nature here. Fine and good. Now, when you look at this right now, you will discover that this market what created this higher high, now created these internal structures before what taking all of them out. So many people in this situation, they will say that the market has changed to start moving to the downside. But what happened? Markets now resumed to the upside. Another place that we are seeing this is this particular place. Remember, these markets did all these things, now came to this particular place, created this, then moved out, creating a new higher high, which in some scenario or in some certain should we say some certain situations, we call this a fake breakout. We are coming to that. Now, what happened? Market came here, taking it out and creating another high, right? In some if you are not grounded in market movement or market price action movement or market structure, you will think that this is a change of character. But what happened? This low that created this high, market did not go below it. So I want us to have all this in mind and continue with what we have currently in the market. The same thing happened here, created low, created a higher high, swept this low, continued. But it didn't go below what? This low. So let's proceed. The same thing applicable here. When you look at it, you will discover that this market created this low, right? Created this low and created this high. What happened? It swept this low, came back to the low that pushed this and continued to the upside. So I want us to always have that in mind. So what do we have currently now? Now, remember all these things has been happening and the market has been moving in a very, very healthy way. Now, what happened? This market created a higher high, right? This was the last higher high. Then had this down movement, making this our very strong low, right? And created another higher high here. And created another higher high here. Now, after creating of this higher high here, what happened? Market came in here and created a liquidity that needed to be what? Swept. Now, after creating this, market swept that liquidity. Let's go to lower time frame of 15 minutes to have clear picture of what is currently happening in the market. Market now swept this liquidity, as you can see here. It swept it and continued towards to the downside. Now, market did not only take out this low that created this high, right? It also took out this low that created all this move to the upside. Now, as we on lower time frame now, you will discover that this market created this internal liquidity. Here, all these internal liquidity, this and this, just like we discussed earlier, before creating this high, which is the breakout structure there. But what happened? Then this market right now came down, swept this liquidity, swept this liquidity, swept this last low, and which in some situation could also be used as internal liquidity, and went below this last all-time very strong low in this trend. So what do we have now? We have a change of character. The market has changed its direction, but some people will still be looking at it that the market is still in uptrend. Now, but before that, let's look at this. Remember, I said earlier that the market could be going this way. It could go up in a very high, now create a higher high, right? Now come down here, create another high. Now have in mind that whenever market goes like this, create this and go out without it sweeping any liquidity. What is sweeping liquidity? This now is different from something of this nature. This is different from this. Now, in this situation, where can we take that created a higher high? We are going to take this, right? Why are we taking this particular place? Because this had already liquidated some orders, taking out liquidity before creating another one. And when you look at it, this is what the market has actually been doing. We can't actually go down to see all those things, but look at this. You will see that immediately this market created this high here, it's now created this low, which I always tag as the liquidity, and create this low created high. This low did not sweep any low before creating high. So this makes it our what? Liquidity that the market will come for. So what happened? It came for it here, right? And made this to be our strong low. This. Now this went also, now created all these things, now created a new high. Now, after this high, before these things started happening, now breaking this and also this, changing the direction and character of this market. So let's have all this in mind now and come to the current price movement. So looking at this particular place, we are triggered all these movements. Now, this place triggered all these movements. This is where broke our last low, changing the character of the market. So what do we expect? Whenever a character of trend is changed, what do we expect to see? We expect to see something like this. Market coming to take that, to test that order block before moving to the downside. Now, why? Because most of the times, once this takes place, markets will now create a fake breakout, right? And internal liquidity like this, and breakout. People will now take these words as their resistance, that once market comes, it will now continue going down and place their orders here. Immediately market comes, it will now take everybody out before continuing to the downside. I want you to keep that in mind, and let's look at what happened. Now, after breaking all this, now this market, remember, this is our change of character. Now it pulled back, creating that fake move. Remember what I said? Once market takes out any structure, it will now create a liquidity inside it that needs to be taken out. If the low or the high internally did not sweep any liquidity before breaking a structure, you know that that is a fake breakout. In this situation now, this did not break any, this did not take out any high or low before moving to this particular place. Now, this market right now did that here. Look at how it happened after that break, created this, went and it took it out before it continued. Now watch now. After this, went, then continue going without taking this out before continuation. Now, we now have in mind that this thing that occurred here now, we can call it what? A fake breakout. A fake break of structure. Now, in this situation, how we will identify this as our what? Liquidity that needs to be swept. So now we have created all this move that changed everything here. And there is an order block that we can see here that created all this move to the what? Downside. And the good news is that order block has what we call a fair value gap. So we should be expecting this market at this particular place before moving into the what? Downside. Because this market now is healthy, the market might decide to start coming down from here, which it had already taken out our liquidity. But to have a very better good risk reward ratio, it is always advisable for you to trade with a very good risk management. If you're an aggressive trader, you can put your order like this, right? Placing an order here, putting your stop loss above that order block that created this, or we can call it either you call it order block or order flow that created that move. Then put your take profits at this particular place. This is almost 3-to-1 risk reward, which is a very good one. And if you are an aggressive trader, since we already have this in mind, we have this picture that market's supposed to come here, you can actually bring it down to this particular place, making it what? 4-to-1 risk reward. But in the market, don't be greedy. The best place to put this is at this particular place. So this is the analysis for gold today. And this is what we are expecting to happen today and the rest of the week for gold to start selling. But remember, trading is reactive and not predictive. You have to be conscious. You have to have your trading plan in place. Now, what do? You can wait for market to enter this zone and change character on lower time frame, which you can actually now have a tighter or a little stop loss to have a better risk reward. Because in markets, everything is possible. The market can even decide to come here, break this, and continue going to the upside. That doesn't mean that you are wrong, but I want you to have that in mind. So expect gold to play out like this, and this is a very risk reward ratio. So feel free to comment, like, and share so that these wonderful opportunities will be getting to other people. Have a good day, traders.